Hi, this is Nicole Jones, and welcome to Amplify Your Brilliance. What I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is where I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. And I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your business, your career, but in your life. Also, make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. Go to thebrilliancetribe.com. Now, grab your pen as we begin today's session of Amplify Your Brilliance. Hi, this is Nicole Jones, and welcome to Amplify Your Brilliance. Yes, that's right. As we launch the third season of our podcast, we have changed the name from The Fierce Files to Amplify Your Brilliance. And I'm sure you're wondering why the change, right? Well, if you've been listening for a while, you know that during my podcast, it really is about expanding your territory. So it was just simply time to expand the territory of the podcast, or should I say to amplify it. See, in our first two seasons, we did exactly what my podcast had as its goal to do. We had moments where I shared thought-provoking insight, as I will in this episode, as well as behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more, their amplification, right? And as I started to prepare for season 3, I had a thought that went off like a light bulb in my mind. See, what came to me is that many of our listeners, many of you are in the middle of the transition into your very own more. So you're in the process of expanding your territory, and you are really, really ready to amplify your brilliance. See, what came to me in that light bulb moment was the prayer of Jabez. Did you read that book years ago like I did? Well, the Bible verse that this book is based on dropped in my spirit like it was something new. So bear with me as I share with you what came to me and something that I know I missed from the prayer of Jabez, and I wonder if you missed it too, right? Now, first I have to tell you that what I think is interesting is Jabez is only mentioned in 2 verses in the entire Bible. Not 2 chapters, but 2 verses, which got me to thinking that his story must be important, that it couldn't be missed, right? Even if you look at the verses and chapters around the story of Jabez, I'm talking from chapter 4 all the way through chapter 8 of 1 Chronicles, it's saying things like, and Peniel was the father of Gedor, and Ezer was the father of, and it goes on and on about family genealogy until it gets to Jabez. And when it gets to Jabez, it shifts from a list of names to 2 verses that are obviously significant. And so that made me think, wow, this story has to be really important, right? So the Bible verse that the prayer of Jabez is based on is 1 Chronicles 4:10 that says, "And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. So God granted him what he requested." Again, that's 1 Chronicles 4:10. But there's a verse before verse 10 that we forget about, or actually, I don't even think I paid attention to when I first read the prayer of Jabez, or maybe I missed it, right? So I'm going to read both verse 9 and 10, the 2 verses that make up the story of Jabez in the whole Bible, all right? So here they are. Again, it's 1 Chronicles 4, 9, and 10. Now Jabez was more honorable than his brothers and sisters, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, Because I bore him in pain. Now that's 9. And here's 10 again. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. So God granted him his request. Now, what I know I missed during the whole prayer of Jabez craze was that Jabez was really asking God for more than expanding his territory. See, when I read verse 9, it dawned on me that what Jabez was asking, he was saying, God, let me not be who others claim me to be. Let me move past perception and opinion and move into what's possible for me. It was like he was saying, let me amplify who I am so I can be more and do more. See, what I know for sure is that when it's time for you to expand, you have to let go of yesterday to move into tomorrow. And that's really why I'm holding the space for you when I do this podcast, right? Because your resume, your bio is over. That's done. It's complete. yet. See, where you are today is done. See, it's time for you to go after what you have not yet become. And that is what I mean and that is really why I shifted our name to Amplify Your Brilliance. See, the word amplify means to make larger or stronger, to increase or extend in power or authority. And see, when I say brilliance, I'm talking about your intellectual property, your genius, what I call your fierce. And actually, even the dictionary defines brilliance as great brightness. So let me put it to you like this. One of my favorite songs ever since I was little, and you probably know this song too, is This Little Light of Mine, right? I remember singing that in church when I think that might have been the first song I ever learned. Anyway, if you're not familiar with it from being little in church like me, maybe you heard it during the opening scene of the Tina Turner movie, What's Love Got to Do With It, right? And see, I think that song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, is really speaking to us, amplifying. And even if I think about the quote by Marianne Williamson, which really I think says it all, let me read her quote here. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? See, you are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. See, we are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously or unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Love that quote. So I changed the name of the podcast because I really am holding the space and giving you permission to not just shine, but to turn all the way up, right? See, the prayer of Jabez reveals that God longs to give you so much more than what you have ever thought to ask for. Your brilliance, your gift, your expertise is the territory God has entrusted to you, and he wants you to accept it as a significant opportunity to touch all the people, all the businesses that only your brilliance can touch. And you do that for his glory. And doing that is allowing your light to shine. So this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, right? See, I'm holding the space here for you in this podcast to amplify that brilliance in you, so much so that you shine so bright that, girl, I want to put on some shades when I see you, right? With all that greatness coming forth. That you no longer settle for good enough or seek someone else's permission to go after your big dream, your big desire. See, that desire in your heart is real. That rumble in your belly is dying to come out. And so it's time. It's time for you to go and get it. It's time for you to amplify your brilliance. And I'm passionate about this because this is the exact reason why I started doing the work that I do. It was a time in my own life where I knew it was time to amplify. And some of you have heard my story, but I think it bears repeating here so you understand why being in this work is so important to me and why I am so committed not just to extend my own territory or amplify my own brilliance, but I'm equally committed to yours. See, this journey for me started back in 1993. And so right now, as I'm speaking to you, that's been 26 years. See, at the time, I had an incredible career in the entertainment industry. I was working for Viacom's largest cable network. We had an outreach to over 89 million homes on a weekly basis. And then from there, I was elevated into a casting position working for the #1 TV show on Fox. And then from there, I worked with an entertainment group, and what we produced generated over $12.6 billion annually. See, I'm sharing that with you because I want you to see how big I was already playing. Plus, I was going to all the hot Hollywood parties. I was bumping elbows with all the stars. I was living the dream. However, that dream became my nightmare. Now, don't get me wrong, Hollywood is great. And yeah, I still miss the parties. But in the dark of the night, when I was by myself, I began to realize that there was more for me to do. See, I also realized that I had followed a path that someone else defined as success for me. And I was successful. But in that moment for me, I realized that I didn't even know my own soul. And then One day I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired and living by feeling like I should be thankful for what I had when I realized that I didn't feel fulfilled, and feeling guilty and feeling like I should be happy where I was. And as I tried to talk to my friends about it, they kept saying things to me like, Nicole, have you lost your mind? Didn't we just go to the premiere party and didn't we just walk on the red carpet and all that, right? And so just talking to them and hearing those things from them just made me even more confused about this rumble that I was feeling in my belly. This rumble that was making me feel like there was more for me to do. So in the middle of me being sick and tired of being sick and tired and then feeling confused about it, one of my girlfriends asked me to volunteer at a program at our church. And as I walked into that room that night, into the sanctuary that night, and I started working with young women, as their eyes lit up, my heart lit up. And I knew this is exactly the answer to the rumble in my belly. I knew that moment, this is where I was supposed to be. However, this was 1993. There was no such thing as a coach yet. And so I couldn't even fathom how I could turn this thing that was rumbling in my belly, this thing that wasn't glamorous like my Hollywood paycheck was, how I could turn this thing into my career. So I found myself at a crossroad. And in one direction was the only way that anyone else would ever recognize me. And in the other direction was the thing that lit up my soul. So I had a decision to make. And I don't know if you've ever been there, or maybe you're there now. You're at a crossroad with a decision to make, a decision between something that's speaking to your soul versus everybody else's perception of you, whatever that is. You're in the face of that decision right now. Well, that's exactly where I was. See, what I know for sure is that moment for me, it was my brilliance inside of me seeking to expand, to serve more and do more and to be more, right? And to be honest with you, to say yes to it, I had to do it afraid. I had to do it knees knocking and teeth chattering. I had to make the decision to say yes to the next level, leading me into this thing that I've been doing since that moment in 1993. Now, matter of fact, I got to tell you, I've been teaching and coaching and hold this space for women to join me in the journey ever since then to expand your territory. Now, again, Hollywood was great. And to be honest with you, I feel like at some point, Hollywood and I will have a full circle moment. But in that moment for me in 1993, I realized there was more for me to do. And I also realized in that moment that I had allowed other people to choose what I should or should not be, right? They were choosing what success looked like. And the current place that I was in just wasn't big enough for my gift. And maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe you're in that same exact place. Whatever your gifts, education, or career might be, you're feeling a rumble inside of you because there is work that God has assigned for you to do on this earth. And guess what? It's time for you to say yes to it. It's time to say yes to what you've been called to do. And yeah, you're called. See, often when I say calling, it makes people think of people like Dr. Martin Luther King or Bishop T.D. Jakes or Sarah Jakes Roberts, or I could go on. And what people don't consider about them is that not one of them were born knowing that they had some specific purpose. But what moved them into their assignment was the moment each of them tapped into their DNA. And if you've been around me, you know when I say DNA, I'm talking about your distinct natural ability. And when they tapped into that DNA, they did three things. They determined the best way to use their gifts. They figured out the people that needed the gift inside of them. And then they made the commitment to be the answer. To be the answer and share those gifts with the world. In other words, they did what I call find their fierce, right? See, for me, in that epiphany moment in 1993, I would have never thought I would ever leave my Hollywood dream, but my dream was just expanding in ways I never even thought were possible. When I look back at my journey over the last 26 years, there's no way I could have written this story then. See, it was not only expanding for me, but for all the people that needed me. It was expanding so that I could serve women just like you. Just like there are a group of people who need that gift inside of you. See, in that moment for me, I knew I had to take my remote back. You know, my remote control. See, I had given my control to my mom, my dad, my community, and that was my fault. But I had to take back my control to move into my more and say, sorry, mom, I'm sorry, dad, I'm sorry, friends, I'm sorry, community. I let you guide me, and now I'm going to take back my control. Thank you. And that's exactly what I did. And I began in that moment to amplify my brilliance back in 1993. I decided to stand in the full power of who I be. And the gift inside of me have expanded in ways I never thought possible. See, when I did that, it fundamentally changed not just the trajectory of my career, it changed my life. And that's why I'm here with you. See, I'm here to call out that gift in you, to call it to its next level, to hold the space that you too may commit to join me in the journey to amplify your brilliance. And if you're saying, yes, I'm ready. If you're saying, yes, I'm ready to live in the full activation of the gifts and talents inside of me, then I want you to hop in our Facebook group. So we have a Facebook group called the Women of Brilliance Tribe. And so go to thebrilliancetribe.com and say, Nicole, I'm ready to amplify my brilliance. We're going to stop here and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for more. Ladies, do you have your ticket for the 2019 Be the Answer 2-day intensive? Join me in Boston for an event filled with other women just like you on a mission for more. Whether that more is to get clear on how your intellectual property can and should produce your paycheck, to start your business alongside your big corporate job, or to generate more streams of income in your current business or anything in between, you need to be in the room. Log on to BeTheAnswerEvent.com and register. Listen, it's me and you for the 2 days where I give you the step-by-step action you need to move your business into real profit right now. See, Be the Answer is an event where I give you the tools you need to create and sustain a business that you're passionate about, all while showing you how to generate multiple streams of income. I can't wait to see you there. See, it's one thing to listen into our episodes, but if you really want to lean all the way into your next level, into your more, I need you to be active and claiming it out loud with me in each and every episode. So if you've not joined our Facebook group, again, you can go to thebrilliancetribe.com, or you can type in Women of Brilliance Tribe in Facebook. And then I want you to write inside of that community, I'm ready to amplify my brilliance. And then use the hashtag amplify my brilliance, right? See, I need you playing full out in our safe space that will foster your expansion into more. See, my goal for you, that whatever it is you need, and really why you're here and wherever you are in your career, that this podcast will be the catalyst to live out the full activation of that fierce inside of you, of those gifts and talents, of that brilliance in you, which ultimately will call you to live into your more. This podcast will show you that you're not alone in that journey. You're not alone in that more that's rumbling inside of you as you push past where you are and go after the fulfillment and meaning in life you really, really want. That thing that you desire and deserve. See, you're going to hear conversations with other women that are in the journey alongside you, just like I am. See, you were born to have the impact and the influence and be able to touch lives. See, that gift in you is the answer to somebody's prayer. And that is exactly what I learned in that moment from my own self in 1993. See, that moment I had that led me to live a life I never could have imagined or dreamed of. Let me tell you, that moment in 1993 definitely wasn't the last one, by the way. See, I'm sharing this with you because life is a journey. You don't get to one level of success and stay there. Not if you're a woman who desires to leave her mark on this world. So I've had many urges to expand my territory since I said yes in 1993. See, my next was in 2010, some 17 years later, when I realized I had been playing it safe in my business. See, I had been playing it safe, and because I had played it safe, I wasn't having the impact I was born to make. It was time for me to stop playing small, is the long story short of that epiphany moment in 2010, and I hired my first coach. And then my next came some 6 months after that. Because as I was doing the work on my coach, my revenue grew 800%. And then some 2 years later, I got to serve my coach as she bought out my business and I became her director of development. And then even 3 years after that, in 2015, are you hanging with me? Right? So even 3 years after I got to work with my coach on her team, in 2015, again, it was time for me to amplify, and I came back and relaunched my own business. See, I was hiding in that larger company, and I got this inkling that it was time for me to play bigger again. Matter of fact, as I'm talking to you, I'm in the middle of my next increase and I don't want you to worry, because you know I'm going to end up sharing it with you, right? But the point I'm making is this: God is always doing a new thing. He doesn't focus on what he did for you yesterday. He's always looking at how he can move you forward into your next level. So my question to you is, where are you in the journey? Are you judging yourself for wanting it? Are you saying things to yourself like, how dare you want more? Or you should be grateful for what you have? And maybe right now you feel guilty, because you already have the kids, the house, the partner, the marriage, right? but you have this rumble in your belly saying it's time to start your own business or to tell your story on stages or just to choose yourself for a change. And anytime you feel guilty or you're feeling judged by your own self or anything close to it, because you want more, what you're doing is putting a ceiling on what's possible for you. So, we hear the sky's the limit, but in actuality, it's not when you put the ceiling on you. See, that rumble in your belly is calling you up past that proverbial glass ceiling. Matter of fact, I need you bursting through it. Or as my aunt always says to me, don't limit God. See, when we put a glass ceiling and we say what we can't do, we're limiting what God can do through us. See, this podcast is here to give you permission to not just want that more, but to shatter the glass that would keep you from going after it. So to do that, I'm going to give you 3 steps that will help you to push past any limit, any judgment, any perception, any feelings of guilt, right? So let me say this before I give you your 3 steps. There's a Bible verse, Ephesians 3:20, that says, "Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ask or think, according to the power that works in us." And I really want you to think about this for a minute. Let me say the Bible verse again. Now, to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. Okay, so let's break this down for a second. First, let's look at above all that we ask or think. So that means that your desire for more is bigger than where you are and what you currently have. And it may be something that you would never have even thought to do or could have even seen for yourself. Do you get that? But it's rumbling in you. And do you know why? Because just like the next part of the Bible verse says, it's according to the power that works in you. So you have power inside of you. See, I believe that God places power in us at birth. That's that fierce that I always talk about, right? That fierce. And that power is tied to your gifts and talents, to your brilliance. And it's the power that is whispering to your soul. And it's saying, oh, I want you to turn up, right? And so to that, I say, turn down for what? Right? But in all seriousness, I really hope you know that that rumble in your belly is calling you out to your abundantly above all. It's bigger than you would ever ask or think. And so don't worry. Part 2, which is our next episode, is going to give you more to help you, because the bigger it is, the scarier it is. But for now, let me give you 3 steps that will help you begin to truly amplify your brilliance. So the first step is to write it out. See, it's one thing to have a dream. It's one thing to have this rumble in your belly. But today is the day you start to be about it. So you can start talking about it and thinking about it and even praying about it, because faith without works is dead. It's time for you to be about it. And the first step comes with writing it out. And here I go with another Bible verse, right? Write the vision, make it plain on tablets. This is why the vision board craze was so big years ago, because when you write it out and you can visualize it and see it, it helps you run toward, to work toward it. It reminds you of what you're becoming. And so I need you to write it out. And so, yes, I'm going to give you a vision board exercise as part of your Amplify Your Brilliance workbook that I'm going to gift you with as this part of this episode, right? So number 1, you've got to write it out. So if you have a vision board, I want you to look at it and see if you need to add to it. Has your vision expanded since you created your vision board? If you don't have a vision board, I want to invite you to do it. And then guess what? I want you to post it in the Facebook group. I want to see your vision board. Tell us, show us where you're headed. Then number 2, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to want more. And you do this by acknowledging how that more will create greater meaning in your life. And I really want you to think about this. See, many of you, that more is going to cause you to make more money. And when you make more money, I want you to think about, what does that mean for your family, your community? Have you stopped to even acknowledge how this expansion of your territory will create expanded meaning, not just for you, but it'll allow you to serve more people. It will allow you to get paid to do what you love, which also means that that need will bless you and be a gift back to you. It'll, again, allow you to make more money. And when you make more money, I want you to think about it. Will it be able to help you pay for your daughter, your son to go to college in cash? Will it help you be able to buy your mom, your dad, the home, so that as they age, they can retire with grace and ease? Or maybe it's about you retiring in grace and ease, and you can buy that vacation home and that spot you've been dreaming of. Or maybe it's to give to causes you greatly and deeply care about. Whatever your more is, I want you to think about the meaning it will allow you to make in this world, and then give yourself permission to go and have the impact you were born to make. See, when God planted that gift in you, he already gave you permission. My question to you is, when will you give yourself permission? So you've got to start with giving yourself permission to have something different at the very core level, at the ask, believe, receive level. So have you given yourself permission to want it? Have you given yourself permission to go after it? So I want you to be bold enough to give yourself permission on a daily basis. And so what I want you to do, you're going to see you have a give yourself permission section in your workbook. I want you wrote it out when you wrote your desire of your heart out when you created your vision board. But now I want you to give yourself permission and write about it every day. Whether you stop and you have a gratitude moment and you're thankful for that day and what that day you were able to accomplish in alignment with your vision, whether it's just giving yourself permission to want it, whatever you're feeling, I want you to ask yourself, what's up for me right now on this day? If you do that over the next 30 days and just sit with the desire you have and all that you deserve around it, right? And then anything that could keep you from it, I want you to do number 3, get the tools you need. Now, you've written the vision and give yourself permission to create greater meaning as you move into your more. You have to create the strategy and get the tools to go after it. So if you've been in my community or around me for any amount of time, you know that one of my favorite quotes is, the tools you've used on this level are not sufficient for your next. And I know for me, when I had that epiphany moment in 1993, God was calling me to do something I had never done before. Sure, I had the gift, intellectual property to do it, but I had never done it in this way. Matter of fact, I didn't even know where to start when I was in this place of the journey. If that's you and you know you need tools and support to either figure out where you are or how to begin where you are, then the third gift I'm going to give you in this episode is really why I created my Becoming Roadmap quiz. And you can go take it at becomingroadmapquiz.com. See, that quiz I created so I can help you by asking a few questions, and it will help you determine where you are, and it'll give you the action steps for that place to get you started, right? See, I know for me, if I had a map and I knew this is where I am and this is where I need to go next, it would have been so helpful for me in my own journey. See, a big abstract desire for more can seem completely overwhelming, but by giving you access to the Becoming Roadmap quiz and then breaking down the work you need to do into smaller action steps, you'll start to create a more tangible picture of what you can do starting today. Then once you start actually taking some of those actions, no matter how small, you look up and you're in your more. So again, go to becomingroadmapquiz.com and take the quiz. By the way, you'll find your Amplify Your Brilliance workbook with the vision board exercise and the Give Yourself Permission journal exercise in our file section here in the Facebook group, right? And again, our Facebook group is thebrilliancetribe.com. Now, the harsh reality is turning a dream into an attainable goal takes hard work. But if you start with these 3 steps and doing this work, you'll be able to move toward making your more real. You'll be moving toward amplifying your brilliance. Again, your 3 steps are create your vision board or update it, give yourself permission on a daily basis, and then take the Becoming Roadmap quiz. Again, you can find the quiz at becomingroadmapquiz.com. You have to know that there is nothing wrong with wanting more. There is nothing wrong with having desires. Many of life's lessons are learned when you listen to the desires of your heart. You won't expand or grow if you aren't called to do something bigger than where you already are. And you hear that call through listening to your soul. By the way, if you haven't figured this out by now, this is more than just a podcast. It's my goal weekly to hold the space for you to join a village of women who are going after that desire in your heart for more. And I'm inviting you to join me and stand with me in this next level push to grow beyond where you are to your next level, to not settle for good enough or mediocre, but to allow yourself to ascend to new heights, both personally and professionally. See, I want you with me, believing that you're extraordinary, that we all are. Because we are, right? So the movement to more is for all of us. For now, let me celebrate you. Let me celebrate you for expanding into what's possible for you. Here's to you living into your abundantly above all that you could ever ask or think. As I welcome you to the expansion of my podcast, welcome to Amplify Your Brilliance. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Amplify Your Brilliance. Now, I want you to walk away from these sessions with value, so answer either one or all 3 of these questions. Number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what will you do different as a result of what you heard? See, you may have heard something you've already heard, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different as a result of what you heard. Number 3, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you. Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So I want you to share with us something that showed you that you're on the right path. Now again, share. Share either answer number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what will you do different? Or number 3, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. Go to thebrilliancetribe.com and use the hashtag Amplify Your Brilliance. See, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into this community to deepen our journey with being the answer somebody needs and being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and amplify.